In this video, we're going to go through proven processes and strategies that will help you create names that people like and love. There's 3 tools that you're going to want to have open in front of you right now so that you can follow along. Number 1 is the Squadhelp naming worksheet. This contains the activities that we're about to go through in a nice order so you can, again, follow this process step by step. Second, there's a Squadhelp naming worksheet example. We're going to work through a hypothetical example that starts with a contest brief and goes through this entire process. That worksheet is already filled out and will be a great resource for you. Number 3, go into your Squadhelp account and open up a Squadhelp contest. Working through this process live is going to be the best way to really get an understanding of the tools and technique and the process that we're going to take you through. This is fundamental training, really essential naming tools and strategies. So I highly recommend to take the time to go through this step by step and use the resources that I've just outlined. So let's get started with our hypothetical example, and I'm going to read you the contest brief. What is your business all about? Our business has created a unique technology that will completely revolutionize how brands and businesses target their customers by utilizing the highest quality of data possible. We believe it is one of the coolest, most practical, and disruptive uses of modern technology yet. Tell us about your business. Our customer is a marketing leader or decision maker at large or medium-sized businesses. What character, spirit, or emotion do you want your name to convey? We are looking for a name that is unexpected within the marketing and data industry, while still capturing some of our key brand elements. Additional details. Our values: honesty, trustworthiness, pioneering, transparency, innovation. Other brand statements: there are jobs to be done and we help you do them with integrity. URL specifications: minor variations are allowed. Extensions: .com and .co. Maximum number of letters: 10. Maximum number of words: 2. Words to avoid: marketing. Now that we have a brief, we can create our project specifications. What are project specifications? These are the big picture ideas. When we interpret the brief, we believe are important to the direction of the contest. What I'm often looking for are keywords that set up the underlying tone. So if they're talking about a professional or classic or a luxury brand, that's going to feel much different than a fresh, modern, innovative brand. That's going to feel much different than a fun, playful, youthful brand. So again, I'm looking for these kind of ideas that set up a big picture direction for the brand that we're working on. In our example, we've decided on these specification and directions. Since this company is selling to decision makers at established businesses, we want to be somewhat professional. This doesn't mean we have to be overly classic, but it does mean we definitely should follow naming best practices and make sure that the name is easy to say, spell, and remember, as well as avoiding overly playful and cute naming styles and types. We see that this business is cutting edge and they're looking for a fresh and innovative feeling. This doesn't mean we need to say Nexa or Next Gen right in the name. It does mean we should depart from a name that feels like it could have been created 100 years ago and use something that feels a little more fresh. Finally, they say they're looking for something that's unexpected within the industry. There are also some very specific specifications that were in the brief, including that they're open to minor variations in their URL, which we can discuss later. They're open to a few extensions, including .com and .co. Again, we'll go through the URL later in this video. They've set up a maximum letter count of 10, a maximum number of words that they're looking in for in their name of 2, as well as giving us specific directions to avoid the word marketing. So now that you see how you can start thinking about the specifications of your contest, of your project, Pause this video now and go to your active Squadhelp contest that you opened just a bit ago and try this for yourself. Welcome back. Now we're going to talk about taking the building blocks out of the brief. What's a building block? A building block is an idea that you're going to turn into a name. In our hypothetical example, we've thought of a couple building blocks. They're innovation, revolution, quality, honesty, trust, pioneering, transparency, disruption, integrity, and work ethic. There's no right way to complete this process. You're going to want to pull out whatever ideas, values, stories that align with you and you believe are important to this company. It's not even only short phrases and words. We had one company that said that had a whole ambiance, a whole atmosphere that they were trying to build, which was to remind people who were in an older demographic what it felt like to be young and rebellious again. Our community came up with skinny dip. So again, this is the step where we try and pull specific ideas out of the brief that we're going to transition into names. Now we're going to go through several activities that are going to help you take your initial ideas and turn them into words, lots of words that you may want to use in the names. Number one is try a thesaurus. If you have specific named words from the brief or ideas from the brief, turn those into more words using a thesaurus. In our example, we thought of cutting edge, inspiration, ideas, advance, modern. Again, these are words that came from the last step, building blocks, and we use a thesaurus to build out more words. You can use industry slang. Many industries and subcultures have their own slang, and sometimes you can even find a glossary online of common words. This can be a great place to pull words for your names. For our example, we thought of persona, target, and niche. The next concept is short, popular words. These could be words that a few other businesses have already used in their name, or you can find these short, popular words in other ways. Some examples include sprout, maven, axis, effect, ignite, factor, oak, key, rebel, leaf, riot, urban. For our example, we thought of core, propel, and vista. There's a similar idea of power words. There's some overlap with the last category, but in this case I think that a power word could be used 100 years ago, 200 years ago. These are things that will work for a long time and have worked for a long time. So they don't particularly have to be popular, they're just really good words. Some examples include unity, sky, bridge, stone, liberty, ally, and new. For our example, we thought of true, pure, and up. You can have benefit-driven names. Think Costco, new skin, life extension, where the benefits of the product are wrapped right up in the name. For our example, some benefit-driven words that we thought of include precision and reliability. You can pull the features right into the name. For example, Snapchat, Instacart, Noodles & Company, Science Comic, all pull descriptive features right into the name. For our example, we thought of data or insights. You can use trendy words. For example, trill or vibe are very popular right now. Vibe is a very popular naming word. Definitely shouldn't overuse it, but it works really well and resonates at this time. Next, we have metaphors. Metaphors are really great, and contest holders really like when they see more metaphors. It's a very thoughtful way to name a company. What you're doing is you're pulling on a pre-existing story and bringing that into your brand story. Think of Robinhood, the fintech company. They're pulling on the whole mythology of Robinhood right in their brand. Tesla was an inventor, a very revolutionary inventor, so they're using that story to say that they're innovative like Tesla. Nike is the goddess of victory, so they're pulling on that whole mythos of Nike the goddess to create a story for their brand. So you can explore people. We thought of Lincoln being known for honesty, Edison as being known for innovation. You can explore places. Athens is known for revolutionary innovative thinking, so that could be a great metaphor for us. You can explore myth. Prometheus brought fire. That's the myth there. To that huge pioneering giant leap. That giant leap is a great alignment with our brand right now, the brand that we're building. Other nouns that you can use as both symbols and experientially and in other ways are another great option. The difference between a metaphor and a symbol is a symbol has a specific feeling and idea, but not the whole story behind it. So for example, crest. The idea of a crest is as a symbol for strength, nobility, protection. The idea of oracle is a symbol for insights and wisdom. Dove is a symbol for peace and purity. Open door is a symbol of welcome, of welcoming. For our example, we thought of helm. Helm is the steering aspect of a ship, so it has that directional nature and the forward motion, so we thought that was a good symbol for our brand. Animals are great. You have Red Bull, MailChimp, Survey Monkey, Firefox, Dove. A lot of times pairing an animal with another word works really well. In our example, we thought of ape for an idea of evolution, for change, for forward progress. Imagery is another great way to build a name. Very subtle, and create wonderful images and feelings behind a name. We thought of blue for trust, red for disruption. Vista is an idea of clarity, transparency, sight. Mood is an emotion. Is another great way to create names. You have words like joy and triumph and peace. These are wonderful and create very emotionally powerful names. Then you have verbs. Swipe and boost could be examples. For our hypothetical example that we're working on now, we thought of spearhead and spur as great verbs, action words that we could use and align with this brand. Then there's adjectives. Adjectives can be used with other words that you've already created to create a fuller, more deeply expressive name. Think of urban, decay, urban outfitters, easy life, United Health, General Motors. In our example, we thought of creative, daring, lucid. Lucid could be good options. Finally, we have foreign language words. What we've seen is, besides for English, Greek and Latin are the most popular when it comes to naming, but other languages can work, especially when the context is right. So for our project, we thought of veritas, Latin for truth, qualis, Latin for quality, onesto, Italian for honesty. So again, all these prompts are just to help you think of more words that are going to allow you to create interesting, deep, impactful, and unique names that will help you stand out and get noticed. Again, pause this video now and try this process for the Squadhelp contest that you have open. Welcome back again. There's a few other ways to create more words. There's a really nice tool called Rhyme Zone. What I like about Rhyme Zone is it works like a thesaurus. You can find synonyms, but then it sorts them by word type. So you can look at thesaurus for adjectives. That's a really good one. It's hard, sometimes when you look in the thesaurus, the standard thesaurus, it's hard to find specific word types. So you can look at this to find synonyms that are adjectives or verbs or nouns. It's a really neat tool. Definitely recommend playing with that one. We also love the idea of Google storming. Works really well for metaphoric names and many, many other concepts as well. Think about plugging ideas such as most blank people in history. So most innovative people in history, most pioneering historic figures, myths and stories about innovation, honesty, places known for new inventions, meaning behind colors, animals that symbolize, the Greek word for, the Latin word for. You can see how this can go on, and that's just a few to start with. But using Google as a simple tool to find metaphoric names, foreign language names, is a really great way to expand your arsenal of words. Finally, we have an activity in the spreadsheet that just says don't overthink it. And we've given you a lot of prompts, but sometimes it's nice just to step back and start to see what comes out. So now we come into what is a real critical part of the naming process, which we call naming types. We're going to go through these name types, and what they are is the actual construct of the words within the name. They're more technical tools that you're going to use the ideas that you've created thus far and actually turn them into names, because right now all you have is words. So the question becomes, Again, what do you do with all the ideas you've just created? And what we want to do is give you some really great tools so you don't just haphazardly mesh them together and hope that it works. The first name type that you want to try is real words. These are single English words, sometimes short phrases. We thought of, for our example, Lincoln, Helm, Spearhead, Spur, or Onesta could all be great English real word names. Now you have compounds. This is when you put two names together. Snapchat, Facebook, WordPress. For our example, we thought of True Vista, Modern Precision, Reliable Core, and Data Ape. As you can clearly see, some of these names are going to be better than others, and that's just fine. We'll deal with that in the next step. Next, we have transmutations. This is a name where you can clearly see the word that it's built off of, but it's not exactly that word. Zumba, Curio, Canva, Carta. All of these words, you know the word that they're built off. Obviously, Zumba is built off Zoom. Obviously, Carta is built off Cart. Shopify is built off Shop, but it's not that exact word. So we're transmuting it, changing a little bit, maybe dropping a few letters, adding a few letters to create some wonderful names. Why does this really work? And why is this something that you really should consider when creating name ideas? Because short names are great, and when they have meaning, it's even better. But many English words are already taken. So when you make those slight changes, you can find some really cool, powerful, modern, often modern names. So for our example, we thought of Purium, taking pure and adding un to create Purium. Puric, dropping the e and adding the ic, Puric. Edgix, taking cutting edge, dropping cutting completely, and making Edgix. Pelio. This is built off of propel. We took off the whole pro and then changed the end to create Pelio. Then we have Trula. We dropped the E, put an LA on to make Trula. There's some other examples in the worksheet that you're definitely going to want to check out. What's really important with these transmutations is that they're really easy. They have to be easy to say, they have to be easy to spell. The power of them is they can be really short. Again, they can be so powerful if we hit these specs. If they're long, if they're cumbersome, they don't work very well. And you really do have to have a nice ear for language and make them sound like you almost want them to sound like they could easily be a word. Again, if they feel clunky and awkward, they're not going to work very well. Next, we have blends. This is where you take two words and put them together. This is one of the hardest name styles to be successful with, and I recommend being really careful if you ever submit these into contests. You have examples such as Groupon, the combination of group and coupon. We have Winvested, Verizon, which is Veritas, and Horizon, Veritas for truth in Latin. Instagram, which is instant telegram. Udacity, university, audacity. Playformance, play performance. And the real risk with this is when you put the words together, they don't sound good, so they're really hard to use functionally. They're hard to spell, they're hard to say. They make a whole new word altogether and don't actually refer back to the word that you wanted to refer back to. Because some words, if you take just a chunk of it, there are hundreds of different words that it actually refers to, and we can't assume that it's referred to that. So like something like playformance, where you get the clear idea of play, you get the clear idea of performance, is what you're going for in these type of words. Again, they're very tricky, and many of the other types should be explored along with these names. So for our project, we thought of Inspirata, a combination of inspiration and data, as a great blend for the project that the hypothetical project we're working on. Next name type is completely made up names. The famous example is Xerox. When you're using a made up name, it has to be really easy. Short, easy to spell, easy to say. Again, if it's too long, if it's hard to spell, it's not going to work. These are gaining in popularity, probably because of the number of URLs is harder and harder to find. So these abstract names can work really well. For some more examples, we have Iterix. This one came from the Squadhelp community. It was for a tech platform. Kodak, Chevron. These are all abstract or names that don't have any meaning whatsoever. For our project, we looked into the Squadhelp marketplace and found Azovi as a great example of a completely abstract name that could work well for this project. Next, we have this and that names. The structure is this word, and, could be the word and or an ampersand. That, very popular naming style, it works really well. For our example, we thought of Helm and Spur. We have misspellings. Famous misspellings include Lyft, Tumblr, Flickr, Zero, Google, Dig, When it comes to misspellings, they must be simple. They must be obvious misspellings. If it's flipping the I and E, something that maybe a 7th grader would do on a spelling test, something that's complex and tough, they absolutely don't work. If they're long words, they don't work. So you can see that, like with lift, the Y instead of an I, it's a short word, it's very obvious. With something like flicker or tumbler, dropping that E, it's obvious that this is an intentional misspelling. And that's what's important with these misspellings. For us, we thought of lucid with a Y instead of an I, Lucyd. We thought of core data with a Q instead of a C, as well as true insights where we drop the E, TRU, moving into insights. The final name type that we're going to cover is visual names. These are names that spur a vision in your head. Names like Iron Flame, Blue Cabin, Red Bull, Open Door, Ice Mountain, Lime Bike, Snowflake are visual names. There's some research that says that names that spur a vision in your mind can be more easily remembered. This is another subtle name type that's not descriptive and a great one to explore when you're trying to submit names into Squadhelp contests. For our example, we thought of Blue Vista. We thought that captured the brand really, really well. The biggest thing that we hear from our clients again and again is that they want a variety of names. They want to see direct names that are using the benefits and the values and the features to create descriptive names, more like Snapchat and PayPal. But they also want to see these subtler names that are telling a brand story, more like Tinder and Amazon and Robinhood and Tesla. So by exploring a breadth of words and then many different ways of bringing these words into names, you're going to have a huge advantage in contests, and you're well on your way to creating names that our clients are going to like and love. So please pause this video right now and create some awesome names for the contest for the live contest that you're working on. Now that you have some great names, let's move into the final steps here. We're going to perform some basic litmus tests. Number 1 is the read to speak test. If I saw this on a piece of paper, would I know how to say it? Our example, Puric, P-U-R-I-C, has a difficulty. By removing the E in pure, we lose the signal that makes it pure. So P-U-R-I-C could easily become Puric. And unless you're creating cat toys, it's not going to work. So this one didn't pass that test. The next one is hear to spell. So if I heard the name, would I know how to spell it? So Purium has a little bit of problem. Is it E-U-M or I-U-M? There's a little bit of an ambiguity there. I think you can overcome it in this example, but there's definitely some names that are very confusing and you would never know how to spell them if you heard them out loud, and that's a big issue. The next test is the speak to hear test, or the crowded bar test. If you heard the name, could you actually understand it? If you're in a crowded environment and somebody said the name to you, crowded bar, would you be able to make it out? My example here is Carrion, C-A-R-R-I-O-N. Sounds like a great brand name, but could easily be heard as Carry On, C-A-R-R-Y space O-N. So that doesn't pass our test and can definitely be an issue. Now we have contextual sound. So in this one, we're testing this by ear and making sure it sounds good. So you can come up with some sentences that would be relevant to the business that you're working on, so you can say the name out loud. Think, if I was a salesperson, would this make sense? Would this sound nice? For example, thank you for calling Helmansburg. To me, helm and come together and become Hellman. When I was thinking of it first, I said helm and spur. And it was really nice, I liked it. But when I say, thank you for calling Helmansburg, I don't hear the helm and, I hear Hellman. I don't think this passes. However, something like, this is Grant with Pelio, or thank you for shopping at Pelio, I think that has a great sound and definitely passes this test. Finally, go back to step 3 and make sure the names pass the specifications. For example, Data Ape, to me, is too playful for this company. It doesn't pass one of our initial specs that we outlined earlier in this video. Data Core is too middle of the road. There's probably a business that has a similar name, or it doesn't sound innovative like they're looking for. This one doesn't pass. Finally, we have a Google check. Simply go over to Google, type the name and the keyword, so Paleo Data in this case, and see if there's any obvious businesses that are using this or a very, very similar name. This is a great check, really helpful to the contest holder. They'll appreciate this little bit of work that takes just a few seconds. Great. greatly. But now it's time to actually go into the platform. The reason is there's a few tools that we're going to go through that you're going to want to start using right now. First of all, the domain checker. So a few rules to follow. If the contest is set to no, I'm only looking for a name, not a URL, you can skip this step entirely and just make sure that the name passes the previous checks. If it does, submit it to the contest. If the contest is set to the URL should exactly match the name, then we need to make sure that that's the case. What does that mean? It means that whatever the name is, Pelio, Core Data, Lucid with a Y, it needs to be that word plus the .com. If we can't get that, if that's taken, then that can't be submitted into this contest. Those contests that are like that, this is definitely a big hurdle and part of the process of creating great, thoughtful, unique names to find an exactmatch.com. Also, if you find an exactmatch.com and you feel really strongly about it, don't hesitate to submit that to our marketplace for consideration. In exact match contests, you also might see they could be open to exact match, which is whatever name it is, it has to just be that, no other words, but a different extension. So maybe it's pelio.co or pelio.io or pelio.co.uk. You have to look back at the brief to see what your options are there, and also our platform will check that for you, so that'll be really helpful to you. Finally, you have yes, but minor variations are allowed. In that case, you can go through this process. Number one, it's best if the .com is still available. Everybody likes that most, but there's a few other options. We have what we call industry backside add-ons. So this means to take a word after the name that's very related to the industry. So if you're working with a consulting business, you could add the word consulting. If it's a real estate business, add the word realty, realtor, real estate. In our situation, we thought of peliodata.com. In the data industry. Now we have industry relevant front side add-ons. These include drink, eat, enjoy, shop, drive, and many other things. You can see that they have to make sense for the specific industry for them to work, but they can be really great. If you have an e-commerce store and you put shop in front of it, if you have a tequila brand and you put drink, if you have a restaurant and put eat, this could be a great option if they're open to variations. Finally, there's a few generic front side add-ons that are pretty popular. Go, get, we are a few of them. You can use workwithpelio.com as a standard front side add-on. Check this out in the worksheet and you'll see some examples and be able to work through this process as well. Finally, we're in the platform and we're going to end by telling our name story. This is the comment. What we know is that names with comments that make sense and help sell the name are much more likely to get high ratings and win contests. So for our example, here's the comment that I came up with. This name is built on Propel. This idea speaks to innovation and pioneering thinking. It also hints at your goal of helping your clients become more successful. This short, modern name will allow you to stand out from the competition and get noticed. So there's a formula that I use to create this. Again, there's many ways to do this, but here's one that might help you create comments quickly. I go back to the building blocks and I say, here's the building block that this name is built off of. And then I go to step 3 where we set up our bigger picture criteria and I say, you wanted a modern and outside the box name, so I reference that specific criteria. So again, I reference the building block, the specific idea, and then the bigger picture criteria to make a short, succinct story around this brand name. Now you have the tools and strategies to create names that people are going to like and love. We know that you're probably not going to be able to do this entire process for every single name, but we absolutely really hope that you can use many of these techniques to expand your naming arsenal, to go through the process one step at a time from understanding what the brand is looking for, to creating amazing words, to creating amazing names, to doing some basic checks, and then finding a relevant domain. Use this process and stay with us for more training on how to create great names.